My wife joined a wellness group and forced our family to stop eating meat. My kids were losing weight on her extreme diet. Then I started secretly feeding my kids regular food. Now she says she can't trust me anymore and wants to take the children. Last Tuesday night, my wife Allison, 33F, found chicken wings hidden in our garage freezer. She stood there holding the frozen package like she had discovered evidence of an affair. Her face went completely white, then red, then she started shaking. She threw the package on the kitchen counter and asked me to explain why there was meat in our house when we had agreed to follow her new clean eating plan 6 months ago. I am Mark, 36M, and Allison and I have been married for 11 years. We have twin daughters, Madeline and Caroline, both 9F, and our son Graham, 7M. Until 8 months ago, we were what I thought was a normal American family. We ate burgers on weekends, ordered pizza on busy nights, and the kids loved chicken nuggets. Allison cooked most of our meals and never complained about preparing meat. Everything changed when Allison started attending wellness seminars at the community center last spring. She met a group of women who follow something they call clean living. It started innocent enough. Allison began buying organic vegetables and started reading labels more carefully. She replaced our regular milk with oat milk and switched our bread to sprouted grain varieties. The kids complained about the taste, but I supported Allison because she seemed excited about learning new things. The real shift happened in July when Allison announced she wanted our entire family to eliminate processed foods, refined sugars, and all animal products from our diet. She had attended a 3-day retreat where she learned about the connection between food and spiritual wellness. She came home with a binder full of meal plans, shopping lists, and articles about factory farming and environmental impact. Allison cleared our pantry and refrigerator that same weekend. She threw away boxes of cereal, bags of frozen chicken, packages of lunch meat, and containers of yogurt. She said we were starting fresh and that she had already bought replacement items. Our new pantry contained quinoa, lentils, nutritional yeast, and various powders I had never heard of before. The first month was challenging but manageable. Allison spent hours each day preparing meals that required multiple steps and ingredients I could not pronounce. She made cashew cheese, spiralized vegetables into noodles, and created protein balls from dates and nuts. The kids picked at their food and asked for their old favorites. Allison explained that their taste buds needed time to adjust and that they would soon prefer the new foods. By September, the restrictions had expanded beyond food. Allison replaced our regular toothpaste with homemade versions using baking soda and essential oils. She bought new cleaning products that cost 3 times more than our previous brands. Our family grocery budget increased from around $400 per month to over $700. Allison said the investment in our health was worth the extra cost. The children started having problems at school. Madeline came home crying because her classmates made fun of her lunch. Allison had packed kelp noodles with tahini sauce and raw vegetables. Other kids called it weird and asked if she was sick. Caroline stopped eating lunch altogether and came home exhausted every day. Graham threw tantrums every morning when Allison tried to give him green smoothies instead of the cereal he wanted. I tried talking to Allison about finding some middle ground. I suggested we could eat her preferred foods most of the time but allow the kids to have regular meals occasionally. Allison became upset and said I was not taking her research seriously. She showed me articles about additives in processed foods and statistics about health problems in children. She asked if I wanted our kids to develop diseases later in life because we fed them poison. The situation got worse in October when Allison discovered that my mother had been giving the children regular snacks during their weekly visits. My mom kept granola bars, crackers, and juice boxes at her house for when the kids came over. Allison called my mother and told her those foods were not allowed anymore. She asked my mom to throw away everything that did not meet our new standards. My mother was confused and hurt. She had been buying those snacks for years and the kids always enjoyed them. Allison created a list of approved foods that she gave to my mother, along with instructions for proper preparation. The list included items like raw almonds, organic apples, and homemade kale chips. My mother called me privately and said she felt like Allison was being unreasonable. She pointed out that the children seemed unhappy and were constantly asking for foods they used to eat. I agreed with my mother but told her to follow Allison's rules to keep peace in the family. The real breaking point came in early November when Allison found out that Madeline and Caroline had been trading their lunches at school. They were giving away the meals Allison prepared and eating sandwiches and fruit snacks from their classmates. The school counselor called to discuss the situation because the teachers noticed the girls were not eating during lunch periods. Allison was devastated when she learned about the lunch trading. She said she felt betrayed and that the children did not appreciate her efforts to keep them healthy. She decided to start packing even more elaborate meals to make them more appealing. She began waking up at 5 in the morning to prepare fresh juices, dehydrated fruit leather, and sprouted seed crackers. The extra work was exhausting Allison, but she insisted it was necessary. She said other families in her wellness group had gone through similar adjustment periods and that consistency was key. She believed that if we maintained the new eating plan for a full year, it would become our natural way of living. Meanwhile, the children were becoming more difficult to manage. They argued about food constantly and refused to eat meals that Allison spent hours preparing. Graham started hiding food under his bed after meals to make it look like he had eaten. The girls complained of stomach aches and headaches, which Allison attributed to their bodies detoxifying from years of processed food consumption. I started questioning whether the new diet was actually healthy for our children. They seemed to have less energy than before and were losing weight. Madeline, who had always been active in soccer, started struggling to keep up during games. Caroline, who used to be outgoing and social, became withdrawn and spent most of her time in her room. The situation with my mother got worse when Allison decided that even brief exposure to non-approved foods could set back the children's progress. She asked my mother to commit to the eating plan completely or limit her time with the grandchildren. My mother tried to follow the rules but found the meal preparation too complicated and expensive. She started seeing the children less frequently, which made everyone sad. By December, I realized I needed to do something to help my family. The children were miserable, my mother felt excluded, and Allison was stressed from trying to maintain impossible standards. I started keeping regular snacks in my car and giving them to the kids on the way home from school. I told them not to mention it to Allison because she would be upset. The secret snacking helped improve the children's mood somewhat, but I knew it was not a long-term solution. I began researching the claims that Allison's wellness group was making about food and health. I found that many of their recommendations were not supported by mainstream nutritional science and that some were potentially harmful for growing children. I decided to have a serious conversation with Allison about modifying our approach. I planned to suggest that we could continue eating healthier foods while allowing some flexibility for the children. I hoped that we could find a compromise that would work for everyone in our family. That conversation never happened because Allison found the chicken wings in the garage freezer. I had bought them the week before, planning to cook them for the kids when Allison went to her weekend wellness retreat. I forgot about them until Allison confronted me in the kitchen. Now Allison wants to know how long I have been hiding food and whether I have been undermining her efforts to improve our family's health. She says she cannot trust me anymore and is questioning whether I support her goals for our family. She has threatened to leave and take the children if I cannot commit to following the lifestyle she believes is best for us. So Ada for hiding food from my wife and allowing my children to eat things she has forbidden? Should I have been honest about my concerns instead of going behind her back? Update 1: I posted here 3 weeks ago about my wife Allison finding chicken wings I had hidden in our garage freezer. The responses to my original post were mixed, but many people pointed out that I should have communicated my concerns directly instead of hiding food. Some parents shared similar experiences with extreme dietary restrictions and advised me to prioritize my children's well-being. I showed Allison the post and asked her to read through the comments with me. She was initially angry that I had shared our private family business online, but she agreed to look at what people were saying. We spent an entire evening going through responses and discussing different perspectives. Allison was surprised by how many people were concerned about the children's health and social development. She had not considered that the dietary restrictions might be affecting their friendships and school performance. Several comments from teachers and child development experts made her realize that food-related stress could cause long-term problems for kids. We agreed to schedule appointments with our family doctor to discuss the children's nutritional needs. Allison wanted to get professional medical advice rather than relying only on information from her wellness group. She said she was willing to modify our approach if our doctor recommended changes. The appointments took place last week. Our doctor, Dr. Rodriguez, examined each child and reviewed their growth charts from the past year. Madeline had lost 8 pounds since July, which put her in the 10th percentile for her age group. Caroline had lost 6 pounds and was showing signs of fatigue and concentration problems. Graham had not gained any weight in 4 months, which was concerning for a growing 7-year-old. Dr. Rodriguez asked detailed questions about our current eating plan and reviewed the meal schedules that Allison had prepared. She explained that while eating more whole foods was generally beneficial, completely eliminating entire food groups could create nutritional deficiencies in children. She was particularly concerned about the lack of protein sources and the restriction of dairy products. The doctor recommended that we gradually reintroduce lean meats, fish, eggs, and dairy products into the children's diet. She suggested that we could continue emphasizing fruits, vegetables, and whole grains while ensuring that the kids received adequate nutrition for proper growth and development. She also recommended that we consult with a registered dietitian to create a balanced meal plan. Allison listened carefully to Dr. Rodriguez's recommendations and asked many questions about the potential risks of different foods. The doctor explained that moderate consumption of properly prepared animal products posed minimal health risks for children and provided essential nutrients that were difficult to obtain from plant sources alone. After the appointments, Allison and I had several long conversations about how to move forward. She admitted that she had become so focused on following the rules from her wellness group that she had not been paying attention to how the changes were affecting our children. She said she wanted to find a way to feed our family healthy foods without causing stress or social problems. We decided to implement Dr. Rodriguez's recommendations gradually. Allison agreed to reintroduce eggs, dairy products, and lean meats into our meal planning. She also agreed to allow the children to have regular snacks and treats occasionally, as long as we maintained an emphasis on nutritious foods for most meals. The changes had an immediate positive impact on our household. The children were excited to have some of their favorite foods again, and mealtimes became less stressful. Allison found meal planning easier when she had more ingredient options, and our grocery budget decreased significantly. However, Allison's decision to modify our eating plan created problems with her wellness group. When she explained that we were reintroducing animal products based on medical advice, several group members criticized her choice. They said she was giving up on her commitment to clean living and that she was poisoning her children by feeding them processed foods. The group leader, a woman named Patricia who runs the wellness seminars, called Allison personally to express her disappointment. Patricia said that Allison had been making excellent progress and that she was backsliding due to pressure from family members who did not understand the importance of proper nutrition. She suggested that Allison might need to make difficult choices about prioritizing her health goals over relationships that were holding her back. Allison was torn between wanting to maintain her friendships in the wellness group and wanting to do what was best for our children. She had invested significant time and money in the program and had formed close relationships with other participants. She worried that leaving the group would mean losing her support system and the sense of purpose she had found through clean living. The situation became more complicated when Patricia invited Allison to attend an advanced retreat that would focus on overcoming obstacles to healthy living. The retreat cost $1,500 and required a 2-week commitment. Patricia said that Allison needed intensive support to resist the negative influences that were preventing her from achieving her wellness goals. Allison was tempted to attend the retreat because she missed the sense of community and shared purpose she had experienced with the wellness group. She said that our family's return to traditional eating made her feel like she was failing to protect our children's health. She worried that she was being weak by giving in to social pressure instead of maintaining her principles. I tried to remind Allison that our children's improved health and happiness since reintroducing regular foods was evidence that we had made the right choice. Madeline had regained 4 pounds and was performing better in soccer. Caroline was more social and energetic. Graham was eating well and had started gaining weight appropriately. Despite these positive changes, Allison continued to feel conflicted about our modified approach to family nutrition. She started researching compromise positions that might allow her to maintain some connection with the wellness community while meeting our children's needs. She found information about flexitarian diets and sustainable eating practices that seemed more moderate than the extreme restrictions she had previously followed. Allison ultimately decided not to attend Patricia's advanced retreat. She said she needed to focus on our family's needs rather than pursuing ideological purity about food choices. However, she asked if we could continue to emphasize organic and minimally processed foods when possible, which seemed reasonable to me. The wellness group did not respond well to Allison's decision. Patricia and several other members stopped returning Allison's calls and excluded her from group activities. Allison was hurt by their rejection but said she understood that her choices had moved her away from their shared values. We are still working to find the right balance for our family's eating habits. The children are healthier and happier, which makes the changes worthwhile. Allison is adjusting to meal planning without the rigid restrictions she had followed for months, and she is starting to enjoy cooking again. Update 2 months have passed since my last update, and I need to share what has been happening with Allison and her former wellness group. The situation has become much more serious than I initially realized, and I am concerned about the impact on our family's finances and Allison's mental state. After Allison decided not to attend Patricia's advanced retreat, the wellness group began contacting her regularly to convince her to return to their program. Patricia called Allison multiple times per week, insisting that Allison was making a mistake by compromising her health principles. She said that Allison's children would suffer long-term consequences from returning to toxic eating habits and that Allison would regret her decision. Other group members also reached out to Allison with similar messages. They shared stories about families who had supposedly reversed serious health conditions through strict adherence to clean living principles. They warned Allison that her children would develop allergies, behavioral problems, and chronic diseases if she continued feeding them processed foods and animal products. Allison began questioning our decision to modify our eating plan. She started researching the health claims that her former group members were making and found websites and social media accounts that supported their positions. She spent hours each day reading testimonials and scientific-sounding articles that claimed conventional nutrition advice was part of a conspiracy to keep people sick. The constant messaging from the wellness group was affecting Allison's confidence in the choices we had made for our family. She started suggesting that we might have been too hasty in reintroducing animal products and that we should consider returning to a stricter approach. She worried that our children's short-term improvements might mask underlying health problems that would emerge later. I tried to remind Allison that our family doctor had recommended the dietary changes and that our children were clearly healthier and happier. However, Allison said that conventional doctors were not trained in true nutrition and that they were influenced by pharmaceutical companies that profited from keeping people dependent on medications. The situation escalated when Patricia offered Allison a leadership position in the wellness group. She said that Allison could help other families overcome the obstacles that had temporarily derailed her own commitment to clean living. The position would involve attending monthly training sessions and hosting weekly support meetings at our house. Allison was flattered by the offer and excited about the opportunity to help other people improve their health. She said that becoming a group leader would give her access to advanced training materials and connect her with experts in the wellness field. She believed that the leadership role would help her become more knowledgeable and confident about making health decisions for our family. However, the leadership position required Allison to make a significant financial commitment to the wellness program. She would need to purchase training materials, marketing supplies, and inventory for product sales. The initial investment was $3,000, with additional monthly fees for ongoing support and training. Allison wanted to use money from our emergency savings account to pay for the leadership package. She argued that investing in her wellness education would benefit our entire family and that she could potentially earn money by selling products and recruiting new group members. She said that the financial benefits would outweigh the initial cost. I was strongly opposed to spending our emergency savings on what appeared to be a multi-level marketing scheme. I researched the wellness company and found numerous complaints from former participants who had lost money trying to build businesses selling their products. I showed Allison articles and government warnings about the company's business practices and legal troubles. Allison dismissed my research as biased information spread by people who wanted to discredit the wellness movement. She said that successful group members were naturally targeted by critics who felt threatened by their health improvements and financial success. She believed that my opposition to her leadership opportunity was based on jealousy and fear rather than legitimate concerns. The argument about the leadership position created significant tension in our marriage. Allison felt that I was not supporting her personal growth and that I was trying to control her decisions. She said that she had sacrificed her career goals to focus on our family and that the wellness group was giving her a chance to build something meaningful for herself. I tried to explain that I supported Allison's desire for personal fulfillment, but that I was concerned about the financial risk and the time commitment required for the leadership role. I pointed out that she would need to spend several evenings each week at training sessions and support meetings, which would affect her availability for our children's activities and family time. Allison said that her commitment to the wellness group would ultimately benefit our children by ensuring that they grew up understanding the importance of healthy living. She argued that short-term sacrifices of time and money would create long-term benefits for our entire family's well-being. The pressure from the wellness group intensified when Patricia started calling me directly. She said that Allison needed my support to succeed in her leadership role and that my negative attitude was preventing Allison from reaching her full potential. She suggested that I might benefit from attending orientation sessions to better understand the wellness principles that were so important to Allison. Patricia also implied that my resistance to the wellness lifestyle was creating problems in our marriage and that Allison might need to make difficult choices about prioritizing her health goals over relationships that were holding her back. She said that many successful group members had faced similar challenges with unsupportive family members. I realized that the wellness group was using manipulation tactics to pressure Allison into making financial commitments and to isolate her from family members who questioned their methods. I started documenting the phone calls and messages that Patricia and other group members were sending to Allison. Meanwhile, our children continued to thrive with the modified eating plan that Dr. Rodriguez had recommended. Madeline had regained her energy for soccer and was performing well academically. Caroline was more social and had made new friends at school. Graham was growing appropriately and seemed much happier overall. The contrast between our children's improved well-being and Allison's increasing stress about wellness group pressure was becoming more apparent. Allison was spending less time with the children because she was attending group meetings and researching health information online. She seemed anxious and preoccupied most of the time. I decided to seek advice from our family doctor about the situation. Dr. Rodriguez was familiar with wellness groups that promoted extreme dietary restrictions and had seen other families struggle with similar pressures. She recommended that we consider family counseling to help address the communication problems and decision-making conflicts we were experiencing. Allison initially refused to attend counseling sessions because she said that conventional therapists would not understand her commitment to natural health principles. However, she eventually agreed to meet with a counselor who specialized in family dynamics and health-related conflicts. The counseling sessions helped us identify how the wellness group's messaging was affecting our family relationships and decision-making processes. The counselor explained that high-pressure sales tactics and isolation from skeptical family members were common strategies used by groups that operated like cults or multi-level marketing organizations. Allison was shocked to hear our situation described in those terms, but she began to recognize some of the manipulation tactics that Patricia and other group members had been using. She started questioning whether the wellness group's primary interest was in helping people improve their health or in recruiting new members and selling products. Update: 3-4 months have passed since my last update. and I wanted to share the resolution of our situation with Allison's wellness group involvement. The outcome has been difficult but necessary for our family's well-being and financial security. Allison ultimately decided to pay the $3,000 for the wellness group leadership position despite my objections. She used our emergency savings account without my knowledge by accessing our joint account while I was at work. I discovered the withdrawal when I checked our account balance the following week. The betrayal of trust regarding our finances was devastating. Allison and I had always made major financial decisions together, and she had never made such a large expenditure without discussing it with me first. When I confronted her about the unauthorized withdrawal, she said she knew I would try to stop her from pursuing the leadership opportunity. Allison attended the leadership training sessions for 6 weeks. The program required her to recruit new members and sell wellness products to earn back her initial investment. She was expected to host weekly meetings at our house and to maintain a certain level of product purchases each month to keep her leadership status. The pressure to recruit new members and generate sales was intense. Allison spent most of her free time contacting friends, family members, and acquaintances to invite them to wellness presentations. She organized elaborate dinner parties where she would present product information and business opportunities to potential recruits. Most of Allison's friends and family members were not interested in joining the wellness group or purchasing expensive supplements and health products. Several people told me privately that they felt uncomfortable with Allison's persistent sales pitches and that they were avoiding social contact with her to escape the pressure. Allison's mother was particularly upset when Allison tried to recruit her into the business. Allison's mother had recently retired and was living on a fixed income, but Allison pressured her to purchase a starter package of wellness products that cost $800. When Allison's mother declined, Allison accused her of not caring about her family's health. The weekly meetings at our house were disruptive to our children's routines and homework time. Allison expected the children to help with food preparation and cleanup for the meetings, which took time away from their other activities. The children complained that they could not have friends over on meeting nights and that they had to stay in their rooms while adults discussed wellness topics in our living room. After 2 months of trying to build her wellness business, Allison had recruited only one new member and had sold very few products. She was required to purchase a minimum amount of inventory each month to maintain her leadership status, which meant she was spending more money than she was earning from sales. The financial pressure was creating additional stress in our household. Allison was working part-time as a substitute teacher, but most of her income was going toward wellness group expenses. Our monthly budget was strained by the product purchases and the reduced income from her decreased work hours. Allison's personality began changing during this period. She became defensive and argumentative when family members questioned her business decisions. She accused me of sabotaging her success by not fully supporting her recruitment efforts. She said that negative attitudes from family members were preventing potential customers from taking her business seriously. The breaking point came when Allison tried to recruit parents from our children's school into her wellness business. She set up a booth at the school's health fair and distributed promotional materials about her products and business opportunity. Several parents complained to the school administration about inappropriate sales activities at a family event. The school principal called Allison and asked her to refrain from conducting business activities at school functions. The principal explained that other parents had expressed concerns about being pressured to purchase products and that commercial activities were not appropriate for school events. Allison was embarrassed and angry about the school's response. She said that the school administration was preventing parents from learning about important health information and that they were discriminating against her business. She threatened to file complaints against the school for restricting her freedom of speech. I realized that Allison's involvement with the wellness group was affecting her judgment and damaging her relationships with our community. Her reputation at the children's school was suffering, and longtime friends were distancing themselves from our family to avoid sales pressure. I consulted with a lawyer about our financial situation and learned that I could legally separate our bank accounts to prevent further unauthorized withdrawals. I opened individual accounts and began depositing my income separately from Allison's earnings. I also documented all of the wellness-related expenses for potential use in divorce proceedings. The conversation about separating our finances forced Allison to confront the reality of her business losses. She had spent over $5,000 on the wellness group but had earned less than $300 from product sales. She was required to continue purchasing inventory each month or lose her leadership position and forfeit her initial investment. Allison finally admitted that the wellness business was not financially viable and that the group's promises about earning potential had been misleading. She said that Patricia and other leaders had greatly exaggerated how much money new recruits could expect to make and how easy it would be to build a customer base. However, Allison was still emotionally attached to the wellness group and their health philosophy. She wanted to continue participating in meetings and following their dietary recommendations even if she gave up the business opportunity. She said that the group provided social support and health information that she valued regardless of the financial aspects. I told Allison that I could not continue in a marriage where she prioritized the wellness group's demands over our family's needs and financial security. I explained that her unauthorized spending, The disruption to our children's lives, and the damage to our social relationships had created problems that could not be resolved while she remained involved with the group. Allison chose to maintain her connection with the wellness group rather than focus on repairing our marriage and family relationships. She moved out of our house and rented an apartment near Patricia and other group members. She said that she needed to be around people who understood and supported her commitment to healthy living. The children have remained with me, and we have returned to the balanced eating plan that Dr. Rodriguez recommended. Madeline, Caroline, and Graham are doing well academically and socially. They visit Allison on weekends, but she continues to try to impose dietary restrictions during their visits, which creates ongoing conflicts. I have filed for divorce and am seeking primary custody of the children based on Allison's financial irresponsibility and her involvement with what I now recognize as a manipulative organization. The divorce proceedings are ongoing, but I am confident that the court will prioritize the children's stability and well-being. Allison continues to participate in the wellness group and has started dating another group member whose wife left him under similar circumstances. She maintains that she made the right choice by prioritizing her health principles over family relationships that were holding her back from personal growth. Our children ask questions about why their mother chose the wellness group over our family, but I focus on providing them with stability and normalcy rather than criticizing Allison's decisions. They seem to understand that their mother became involved with something that changed her priorities and made it difficult for her to be a good parent and partner. This experience taught me that extreme lifestyle changes can sometimes be symptoms of deeper problems with judgment and decision-making. I wish I had recognized the warning signs earlier and taken stronger action to protect our family from the financial and emotional damage that resulted from Allison's involvement with the wellness group.